It was a crisp autumn afternoon when he first appeared in the gardens of St. Vincent's nursing home. An orange cat with a torn ear and amber eyes that seemed to hold ancient secrets. The head nurse, Mariana, tried to shoo him away 3 times. By the 4th, he was already curled up asleep in the lap of Mrs. Eulalia, a woman who hadn't spoken a single word in 2 years. "Let him stay," Mrs. Eulalia whispered, her voice rusted from disuse. Those were her first words in 731 days. And so, Marmalade was adopted, not by any official decision, but by a quiet consensus. He wasn't like the certified therapy cats that visited on Thursdays. Marmalade had something else, a presence that calmed, a comforting weight on a weary chest, a purr that seemed to whisper, "Everything will be all right." It took 3 months for the staff to notice the pattern. Marmalade roamed the halls freely, but sometimes his behavior would shift. He'd become focused, deliberate. He would choose a room, enter uninvited, and refuse to leave. The first was 89-year-old Mrs. Beatrice. Marmalade spent 2 days at the foot of her bed. When she passed peacefully in her sleep, he licked her hand one last time and left. Then came Mr. Manuel, who murmured stories of his youth to the cat curled on his pillow. 3 days later, he departed with a smile, his hand buried in Marmalade's warm fur. After the 5th time, there was no doubt. Marmalade knew. "He's like an angel," one assistant said. "Or a psychopomp," corrected Dr. Henrique, the oldest physician. "A soul guide." Mariana, ever the pragmatist, just rolled her eyes. But secretly she started calling families whenever Marmalade chose a room. "Perhaps it would be good to come visit," she'd say, never explaining why. 82-year-old Mrs. Rosa was paralyzed by a fear of the dark. She slept with 3 lights on and still woke up screaming. When Marmalade entered her room, she grumbled, "I don't want any animal here." But he simply jumped onto her chest, a warm, heavy anchor. That night, for the first time in decades, she slept with only 1 light on. "Will you stay?" she asked, stroking his head. He purred. For 4 nights, she turned off the lights one by one. On the 5th night, she slept in complete darkness, finally free from a lifelong fear. She passed away the next morning, with Marmalade curled around her neck, the stars still visible through her window. Then there was Mr. Antonio, a soldier, a mechanic, a man of few words, whose secret terror was dying alone. His busy children visited on Sundays and called on Wednesdays. "You have your lives," he'd always say. But at night, he would whisper to the emptiness, "When my time comes, please let someone be here." Marmalade appeared on a Friday. Mr. Antonio, a man who rarely showed affection, felt tears well up as the cat jumped into his lap. For the next 5 days, Marmalade was his constant shadow. When Mr. Antonio knew his day had come, he didn't press the emergency button. He simply petted the cat on his chest. "Will you stay?" he asked. Marmalade purred. Mr. Antonio closed his eyes and smiled. He wasn't alone. Mrs. Clara was deeply religious, but her faith had begun to waver. "How do I know I won't just end?" she'd ask. She wanted a sign. Marmalade arrived on a Sunday morning, just as she was whispering, "Give me a sign, just one sign." The orange cat looked at her, jumped onto the bed, and placed his paw on her rosary. Mrs. Clara laughed through her tears. "You're the sign," she murmured. They spent 6 days together, her telling him her fears, him listening with that infinite patience only cats possess. "I think I understand now," she said on the 7th day. "The sign isn't knowing what comes next. It's knowing I won't be alone when I go." She passed that afternoon with a serene smile, Marmalade lying over her heart. Spring, summer, autumn, winter. The seasons passed, and Marmalade continued his silent work. He was there for Mr. Horge, who had Alzheimer's but called him Fluffy, the name of his childhood cat. He was there for Mrs. Palmyra, who had no family and feared being forgotten, whispering her life story into his fur. He was there for atheists and believers, for singers and poets, for those who wanted sound and those who wanted silence. He became a bridge between here and the unknown. 47, Mariana said one morning, looking at the records. He's been present at 47 farewells. Dr. Henrique gently corrected her. 47 people who didn't leave alone. Then, one spring morning, Marmalade was gone. The search grew from casual to urgent. It was a young assistant, Julia, who found him, hidden beneath a rose bush in the garden. He was old, thin, and tired. Dr. Henrique's diagnosis was silent but clear. The cat was dying. "We could try," Mariana started. "No," the doctor said softly. "Look at him. He's chosen." Marmalade, who had accompanied so many, chose to be alone for his own journey. But then, Julia noticed a small piece of paper tied to his collar. The handwriting was impossible, yet there it was. The letter began, "To all whom I accompanied, thank you for letting me leave alone." It spoke of how each of the 47 souls had taught him a different way to say goodbye. "I was the presence you needed," it read. "The warm weight, the constant purring, the eyes that said, 'I'm not afraid, so you don't need to be either.' But now, it's my turn. I came alone. I'll leave alone. Don't cry for me. I had purpose. I was there so that 47 people wouldn't face the unknown without a paw to hold." The letter ended with a promise. "There will be another cat. There always is. Pay attention to the gardens in autumn." A year later, autumn returned. Mariana, now retired, was visiting the nursing home, watering the rose bush where Marmalade was buried. The letter was framed in the living room for all to see. It was Julia who saw him first. A new cat, gray and white striped with jade-green eyes, sitting in the exact spot where Marmalade had first appeared. "Mariana," she called softly. "I think you need to see this." A new resident, Mrs. Josefina, saw the cat and smiled for the first time in weeks. The striped cat tilted his head, then, with slow, deliberate steps, he walked through the open door. His name would be Latte. On his new collar, a small medallion was engraved. "In memory of Marmalade, who taught us that no one needs to leave alone." And sometimes the staff will tell you, if you look at just the right moment on an autumn morning, you can see two cats sleeping under the rose bush, one orange, one striped. A trick of the light, perhaps. Or maybe it's a reminder that even the guides who help us on our final journey never truly have to walk alone. Thank you so much for watching and sharing this story with me. If it touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more stories that warm the soul. We'll see you next time.